All right. So, first things first, we're going to talk about, you know, what we are doing with marketing as a small business owner. Okay. This is, nothing I'm going to drop here is anything that, hasn't been done for thousands of years, even, right? Like anytime anybody buys something, they have gone through this process, but it is not easy to get it right. And so, this is the framework that I teach. This is what I do with all my clients. This is how you go from, not really understanding how to truly drive sales to having very good control over your marketing and your business and your growth. And so, it's really, really important to get this right. So, first of all, what is marketing? I like to say it is the backbone of any business, right? And it is so incredibly important. So many people, they worry about, buying the perfect merchandise for their store, or like making the perfect menu, or making a really attractive brand with like the right colors or logo, or like having a professional website built. And here's the thing, none of that is marketing. And it is not what is going to make your business successful. Okay, so you have to have the right marketing, and you as the business owner have to understand marketing. So many people, they're not doing it in the right order, or they're just trying to pay someone else to do the marketing and it's not working. And because, it's because they don't know how to do it themselves, right? That they're not getting sales. So I'm not saying that you personally have to be on Instagram every day. But if you don't know exactly what you want someone who is creating your marketing to do, then that is the problem, right? No one else is going to understand your business like you do. No one else is going to care about your business or your customers like you do. So you have to be the one to build the marketing framework if you want your business to actually succeed. And because if you don't, right, it's not a business. Without the right marketing, it will always just be a hobby. It will never be a business. And the big thing to really understand is that we have to invest in the business itself and build the marketing the right way. We can't just think about products and services. That's not how you're going to actually get to profit. Okay. So, say it another way, you can be an expert waffle maker maybe, or you can be an expert house cleaner, or you can be an expert interior decorator, or you can have some amazing, incredible skill and be the vintage denim whisperer. But if you don't know how to market that thing that you do well, you're just a person with a hobby. You just, occasionally help somebody, often for less than you should be charging, because you don't know how to acquire customers that are willing to pay you what you're worth, because you don't have the most important skill in business, which is marketing. And without that, you're just a hobbyist. So what I'm about to show you isn't rocket science, okay? Like I said, it's not even a new idea, but it is something that I literally see 99% of my clients doing wrong, or in the wrong order when I first talk with them. Because even though it's not rocket science, it's really, really important that we understand exactly what is going to make marketing work, and that we're doing it in the right order. Okay, first things first, as I already mentioned, 99.9% of the time that a local business owner isn't getting sales, it's not because you're doing the wrong types of marketing, it's a problem with the message. So here's the big thing that most business owners miss when they're thinking about marketing their business. Today, when a consumer is thinking about anything, right, from being entertained to buying a new couch to what to eat for dinner, that is entirely happening behind a screen. And because of, everything that's happened with the internet, with social media over the last, 5-10 years, they've completely shifted to this bored, lazy, instant gratification mindset. So they are not in a place when they're on a screen, on social media or online, where they want to be sold to. Okay. And what I see business owners doing 99% of the time is that they have a selling mindset when they're thinking about marketing. They're using all of these online platforms to market their business that are actively keeping the customer disconnected and with short attention spans. And they're talking about products, or they're telling people to come into the store, or they're offering a discount. And that is a nearly immediate turnoff in a modern consumer's brain, unless they're actively trying to buy exactly what you're selling in that exact moment, right? And that's obviously pretty rare. So what happens? You get a couple likes, or someone unsubscribes from your email list, or they click off your website because they're apathetic and we haven't entertained them or connected with them in any way. These are all message problems, right? And what I see most of my clients doing is this, when they're thinking about marketing, they are still in the mindset that they can talk to their customers online the same way they would talk to someone who actually walks into their business. But we're missing a huge step when we do this, just to have that customer be interested enough in your business to be drawn into a conversation about what you sell. Okay, marketing is not sales. marketing is that first connection point where we want them to say, ooh, I feel like this brand gets me. Okay. So we have to use our marketing to actually get their attention, which is not easy, and then make them feel connected to our business, which is even harder. That will never happen if we think about marketing our products, our services, getting, discounts, right? Or trying to prompt someone into like shopping with you in store physically instead of getting off their couch, because consumers don't care about products. They don't care about sales. They don't care about supporting local, your specific mission, or any of it, right? They care about what makes their lives easier and more entertaining. That is it. I know that's a harsh reality. It's also the only way to actually get their attention, which is the only way that you're ever going to get someone to buy. So the way we have to get their attention is with the exact right messaging. It has to stand out, and it has to sell what they actually care about. Okay, we're not selling your products or services. We're talking about what you sell. It's what they think they want. And it has more to do with their mindset and their experience than the products or services that they're buying. Because I guarantee you, in today's world, your products or services, the things that you sell, they are not something that they can't find elsewhere. So the message in your marketing has to let them know that your business is the best option for them. It has to make your business stand out. So the way that we do this in Foot Traffic Framework is we start with an irresistible offer. What if you had one offer that you can keep using on any platform that isn't a discount, that keeps bringing in more and more foot traffic in any economy, right? Like, it is the one thing that makes your business unique to your VIP customer, and it gets their attention. And it's something that they can't get on Amazon or the big chain down the street, right? They have to get off the couch, come into your business, interact with you. And then we are also using what I call bullseye messaging. So we have to do two things to have the message really actually work. It's not enough just to have the irresistible offer. We have to hit the bullseye with the exact right VIP client with how that message is delivered. Otherwise it's like throwing darts at the wall with our eyes closed and hoping we actually hit the board, right? And the last part of a successful message is what I call the 5-pillar framework. So this is how to use the message with the irresistible offer in a way that those VIP customers care about. We have to keep it out there, keep getting their attention, because it is never enough to just have an offer. We have to know how to talk about it to those customers so that it actually works. Okay, so next is targeting. So the most important thing to know outside of having the right message is that if you aren't specifically targeting people who will become your VIP customers, you're never going to get new customers who are willing to buy. And this is as true now as it was 100 years ago, right? To target the right customers, we have to invest some money, because customers aren't going to magically just find you. Okay? When we specifically target them in places they're already spending time, and we have the irresistible offer and the right messaging, that's how we find new customers. So it's that we have to be able to make sure we're doing marketing where it is visible to our ideal customers, because it doesn't matter how amazing the message or the offer is if it's not reaching them. So step 2, you have to understand how to create a targeting system and make sure you're actually getting your marketing in front of real local VIPs. So instead of just posting and hoping, we can specifically target, those VIP customers when they're most likely to be engaged. Because the best marketing isn't the one that gets splashed around everywhere or posted the most often. It is the one that reaches our customers and actually makes that connection. So another thing to think about is this, right? Like, it's not about quantity, it is about quality. And targeting customers this way is really the only way to ensure you don't have to hear, I never knew you were here when someone walks in your door ever again, right? Because without being able to target the right people, it doesn't matter how much time or money you're spending on marketing, it's not going to actually do anything for your business. So when we talk about investing in marketing, like, this is where you're putting your spend, paid ads, direct mail, localized SEO. So that is like where you're showing up on Google or Yelp or Nextdoor, anything like that, right? And then partnerships. If you're spending money or, giving some value to partners that are beneficial to your business, that your VIP customers already frequent, that is another way to target them and really get your business in front of them. But this, if we don't get this right, if we don't target the right customers, it doesn't matter how amazing the offer is. Likewise, right? If you're doing this, if you're already doing paid ads or something and it's not working, it's because your offer's not right. So these two things really have got to work together, or your marketing isn't going to get anything for your business. Okay, so step 3 is obvious, but it's also something a lot of business owners miss. once we have an irresistible offer and a targeting system that is working to bring in more foot traffic, we have one job. We have to make sure that once we do the work and we have a solid strategy in place, we don't tank it by doing too many of the wrong things outside of what our existing VIPs are loving and responding to. And we have to make sure that we're keeping our business in front of our customers as often as possible so they keep thinking about the business and the irresistible offer. So the whole goal of the marketing system is to be able to leverage what works and keep not just new customers coming in, we have to keep our existing customers coming back again and again. And even worse than doing the wrong things is being really sporadic. So our customers only think about our business every once in a while. So the statistics are unbelievably high that a customer is going to buy from the business they see most often. So it's even more important as a small business owner that we stay in front of our customers and keep that connection going. So step 3 of the framework is we have to make sure that marketing is consistent on the platforms that work for your specific VIP customer, for your specific business, and then automate as much of that as possible. And that is exactly how we easily keep creating content that consistently generates, more than just likes and comments, but real sales. Because, ultimately it doesn't matter how amazing the strategy is if you're not using it. So the whole point of the foot traffic framework is to create a solid, simple strategy that works hard all by itself to grow your business. So with all the pieces in place, we're reaching more customers. And this is where, all the things that people think about first, right? Like I talk to business owners and they're struggling. They're trying to learn how to do social media or email or their website. They paid somebody $5,000 or they're paying a company to do on-site SEO or they're running events, everything else. All the things that we think of as marketing, people put this first when really this is the last step to a marketing framework, is figuring out how to utilize these tools. And, with all the pieces in place, we can use these to reach more customers. And, then we're connecting with them on an emotional level, and they're coming in more and more often because we are marketing to them after we've brought them in through our targeting system in the first place, right? And they're coming in more often and they're spreading the word, using the same online platforms that we first reached them on. So this is the true leverage to grow sales and increase profitability, there's the word, in our business that won't make us have to work harder or chase any more shiny objects. So this is the last step to a working marketing framework, is figuring out how to automate as many platforms as makes sense in our business to keep bringing those loyal customers back in again and again. Because if you can do that, and then also at the same time keep using your targeting system to keep finding new VIPs, that's how a business grows and is sustainable year after year. Okay. So that all makes sense, right? But there are some common problems that I see people encounter whenever they're trying to build a system like this by themselves. I hear a lot of times from a lot of people, they'll say something like, well, I don't know, nothing is working. This is a message problem. Okay. Your message isn't right if nothing is working. The customer either doesn't care about what you're selling, you don't know precisely who your ideal customer is, aka you're trying to hit too broad of a market, or both. So for your marketing to work, you have to know exactly who your ideal customer is, and I mentioned this already. I call them your VIP customers. We have to deeply understand them, not just demographics, like where they live and how many kids they have, but like how they think and feel, what motivates them, what do they want. So, and for the message to work, right? Like we've got to have that irresistible offer. We have to be giving them something that nobody else can give them that they actually want. And until we get that, it doesn't matter. Nothing is going to work. So, every time I talk to somebody and they're telling me nothing is working, I know immediately that is a messaging problem. We've got to figure out what's going on underneath everything else, fix that message, or it doesn't matter how good you get at Facebook ads, right? Like nothing's going to work. All right. I hear this a lot too. If you're getting likes and clicks or views or email opens, like whatever the metric is, right? Like if you're doing things and people are interacting with your marketing, but they're not buying, it's a targeting problem. So your targeting is either off or you're not doing it at all, right? So it's important. We have to actually reach real customers. Okay. It's not about how many followers you have or how many views you're getting, likes and clicks or like even going viral, right? That is not a strategy that drives foot traffic. So, Well, okay. So like I'll just break it down, right? So there's a huge problem these days with like social media in general, right? But like really any online platform. And I'm just going to say it, right? Your business is invisible. And not just your business. Over 90% of the business owners I talk to are not being seen by real customers at all. Not on social media, not online, not using email, like not even using things like their mailers, their local ads, or even the sidewalk sign or your billboard or your storefront. You know, so why? What's really going on that is keeping customers from seeing you? Well, the problem is twofold. First, the biggest thing that's making it so impossible for customers to see you are the algorithms. So, did you know the average organic reach on social media is 0.02% right now? So, that means 0.02% of your followers are going to see anything you post to your social media. So, I want you to think about how many followers you have. And I'm willing to bet that not all of your followers are local. So, like, how many actual customers would you say you're reaching if less than 1% of your followers are seeing your content? So if we're not targeting them specifically with paid ads, with the right messaging, nobody's seeing it. And just because you have a piece of content get some clicks or some likes does not mean that it's getting in front of the right people who are ready to buy. So that is the power of targeting. We have to get it in front of those VIP customers, people that look like those VIP customers when they're ready to buy. And that is a paid strategy. And obviously it can get really expensive to just do that by trial and error and try to figure it out on yourself, right? So like having a strategy that is built specifically for brick and mortar for a local business is really, really, really important to actually get real customers and not just a bunch of like likes and clicks. All right, so looky loos. If you have a bunch of people coming in and telling you that everything looks pretty, but it's too expensive, or, you know, insert excuse here that people use not to buy something, this is also a targeting problem. We're targeting the wrong people. Because if you, I often have business owners, they're asking me like, is it the problem with my assortment? Is it what I sell, or are my prices too high? No, the problem is not your prices. The problem is not having the right people in the store. And that is a targeting problem. So, you know, it's, think about this, right? When we're talking about targeting, it is not about quantity, it's about quality. We have got to make sure that we are getting our marketing in front of real people with the right mindset, income, and like needs to give you money for what you sell, right? And you do have some of those, or you wouldn't be in business at all, right? But like we have to know how to bring in more that are those VIPs. That's what I mean when I say VIPs. We've got to target the right people, because if we're just flinging marketing out there or assuming that everybody in a 5-mile radius of your business is going to be a customer, those are that's the reason why you have the looky-loos who come and might, you know, walk through, wander, try stuff on, you know, have one drink and then leave, right? They're not your customers. They're just like people in your area. And so it's not enough to just get people in your area. We have to get those VIPs. That is a targeting issue. I hear this one all the time. People try to hire out their marketing and it doesn't work. And the reason for this is, you know, like I'm going to give you an example here. Like I have a client, she owns a flooring store and like really focused on like service, local, like it's a much better experience than walking into a Home Depot or something and having to pick everything up yourself, right? And so she went out and she hired a marketing agency that specializes, you know, that the big flooring companies use. So it specializes literally in her industry. So what she ended up with is like website marketing. It looked generic, and she wasted $1,000, right, to have this really beautiful generic website that's getting her less than, you know, one actual real sale per quarter, like not even one a month. So it's not enough to have someone who knows your industry. They have to understand your business. And this is ultimately a messaging problem, right? How can you expect to delegate something and have it work if you haven't communicated to the person that you hired exactly who your ideal customers are and what makes your business so unique? And it's not enough to just say, you know, I have XYZ product and XYZ price point, and my clients are people who are 30 to 50 and have kids, right? Like that is so generic. You're gonna get generic results back, right? And you're the only one who can build it. This is something I have to get across to business owners of all industries, all levels. You cannot hire someone to position your company with your own unique, irresistible offer, your bullseye messaging, and your 5 pillars, okay? You're the only one who can build it. You cannot pay someone to do this for you and have it work. So if you want to delegate, you've got to build those foundations and messaging that will actually get results first. So as the business owner, like, we've got to get all up in your head, understand what makes your business special. And then we have to get all up in your VIP customers' heads and understand what they actually want, so that when we are doing any marketing, we are not generic. We're not talking about products or services that won't do anything to get those customers to actually pay attention to you. So before you spend money, you as the business owner have got to do the work of building those foundations so that your money's not wasted and you actually get results. And if you're, spending money with, any size of company really, but like, whether it's Facebook ads, SEO, direct mail, like anything that you're spending money on, if it's not working, it's a message problem. We've got to build that foundation and that message and that irresistible offer first. Okay. This is honestly an easy one. I talk to people, I say tech struggles on this slide, but it's like anytime I talk to somebody and they think that email doesn't work, or they are struggling with Instagram, or don't understand social media, okay, like this is the easiest thing to fix. And as I already mentioned in a previous slide here, I see so many business owners, they're focusing on this before doing the first 2 steps. But like, honestly, one of the last things I tell a business owner to focus on is the tech and the specific tactics that we are using to put the marketing out into the world, right? Because we can all learn new skills, but like if the message isn't right, it doesn't matter how pretty your emails are. Like, they're not going to work. But if you're not sending email, like because you either think it doesn't work or it's hard or whatever, and so you're missing out on getting those repeat customers in, like we can fix that. Retention is the easiest part, because if you get the first 2, the message and the targeting right, and then you just build some systems in retention, they will keep coming back. So that's what we need to understand. In order to succeed and not just have an expensive hobby that takes way too much of your time, we have to know how to actually market your business. That's the difference between being stuck, blaming outside forces, fixing the wrong problems, and seeing 0 sales, right? Or being the business owner, who actually has predictable and consistent foot traffic and can increase sales in any economic environment. So we've got to invest in the business itself, not just things that we are selling. This is how we grow and have a sustainable business over time. So the next lessons are going to show you exactly how to build each of these 3 steps in the foot traffic framework. So let's jump in.